Okay, happy Sunday morning to you all. It's about 10:30, I think, Sunday morning. Brought the truck back to the warehouse and dropped it off, pick up the Navi, ride that back home. And my plans for today, I'm going to be digging into the little C3. I'm going to try to, first I'll do it the easy way. I'll drain the tank on it and see if that gets me started as far as letting the engine fire up. Drain the tank, clean it out just a little bit, and if that doesn't work, then I'll go ahead and start pulling all the floor plastics out of it, pull the tank, and pull the side panels so I can get to the motor. And I'll have to pull the fuel injection line loose and flush out the line and the injector and all that, so we'll see how it goes. I can't feel the button in my pocket with gloves. Button, which button? Button. Come here, button. Oh, damn, not that button. This button. There it goes. Oh, yeah. So, that's the plan for today. I'm just kind of relaxing a little bit. Probably won't be editing any video today. We'll see. I don't know. I might do a little bit of a live session. We'll see how that goes. Of course, if that happens, you guys will see this after the fact. Might just set up a camera on a tripod and just let it run while I'm wrenching and goofing off on the little C3. Weather's pretty good today. It's low 80s right now, probably about 82, maybe 85. It's supposed to get up into the 90s today. We've got some pretty warm afternoons that we're seeing here, but mornings are great. We're waking up around mid-70s every morning. It's fantastic. Fall weather is starting to trickle in. I like it. Bump. I was looking around everywhere for my Garmin Zumo 396. I thought that I'd left it on the Cub there at the warehouse, and I did for a while, but I had pulled it off of the Cub and I threw it in this little cubby down here to bring it home because I was going to do a firmware update on it and use one of my spare mounts that I have to put it on the Navi. And I just couldn't find the thing anywhere, and then I realized, oh yeah, it's in the Navi. I just found it a minute ago when I was rooting around in that box. So whenever I dig into the Navi projects, probably won't be this weekend. It's going to be later in the week, or a couple weeks. I don't know. I've got a lot of stuff coming up right now, but I'll do the electrical on this, do the AC to DC conversion, and I'm also going to put in a separate keyed ignition circuit with a relay. That way, whenever I turn the key on, I've got an accessory path that's live for the phone and the GPS and all that stuff. I'll probably put a USB charger somewhere on the tail, or maybe just a twin, and run a line forward, run a line back. That way I can charge cameras on the back or in a top box or whatever. So I'll get one of those weatherproof USB chargers that goes back there. I don't know how today's ride is going to go, because, man, I'll tell you, on the way in here on the truck, on the highway, going, 70 miles an hour, 75 with everybody else, and or trying to anyway, and man, I was getting my doors ripped off by people blasting by me at well over 100 miles an hour, weaving through lanes, just being hyper aggressive. I have no idea what's going on in the world today, but good God, people are out of their minds. Just angry. So I have definitely got my head on a swivel today for riding the motorcycles around. I was reaching over here for a rear brake. I instinctively do that on scooters. And then, yes, this is a scooter. This is a scooter that thinks it's a motorcycle. I've seen a lot of people doing the front brake lever, or sorry, the rear brake lever conversion over here on the front handle, and apparently it's not a hard thing to do. But when you do that, you lose the parking brake, the overlock. But I was searching around, and I think it was on WeBike Japan. I found a it's a little clamp on that goes pretty much with any lever. So you go through your existing perch post, you know, your pivot post, and it gives you an overlock for any levers, and it's only like 30 bucks or something. So that's pretty reasonable compared to getting the Honda lever from the ADV 150 or the PCX 150, because you got to buy the perch, the lever, the mechanism, the locking mechanism, all that, and it gets pretty pricey when you add up all those 3 or 4 pieces. I want to say it's 150 or 160 bucks. That's crazy, just for a lever and a lock. But that little overlock from some, you know, off-brand, who knows? So I'll throw it up here on the screen, but that looks pretty interesting. I might buy one of those and try it out, see how it works. Because that way I could use a standard lever on here. If it does work out, I'll get one for my PCX 150 as well. I am still just topped up with fuel. I don't remember when or where the last place I filled up was. Can't recall. Must have been on the way toward the office, because there's no way I could have that much fuel after running from home out to here. Unless the gauge is stuck or broke. That could be a problem. While I have this thing at home, I might pull the variator apart and put the Dr. Pulley sliders in there. I've got some sliders for it. Have to think about where I put them. It should be in my project box somewhere. I try to make a project box per bike. That way any accessories that I buy for it or whatever live in that box until I install them, and then whatever I take off of the bike to make room for those accessories, whether it's, you know, mirrors or, you know, pieces that get taken off or whatever, they go in that box. So everything for the bike is all in one spot, hopefully. Now, of course, that depends on me to keep the discipline of organizing the stuff and putting it in there as I go. That doesn't always hold true. Bike crew running 120 plus down the highway, threading through traffic. Wow. So I've been meaning to get into the little C3 for several months now and just get it running again. And Kid Wilson 33 on YouTube, I've been watching his channel. He's got a little C3 and he just loves it. I think he got his, I don't know, a couple years or so ago, and he saw a couple of my C3 videos and was asking me questions about the little tombstone windscreen that I've got on there, and he ended up getting that and putting it on his and said he loves it. But he's been out blasting his around, and he showed a video the other day where he had his phone mounted up here on top of the speedometer, and he's using that as his speedo for GPS and all that, and he was getting like 49 miles an hour out of his C3. That's crazy. Woo! I don't think I've ever gotten that high out of mine. I think I've gotten 46, 47. But of course, that, you know, that's flat ground, and I can't really think of a time that I've gone downhill or had a, you know, a big tailwind with me. Maybe I have gone that fast on it, but you wrap the speedometer at 40 miles an hour, so you have no idea how much faster you're going unless you've got GPS or your phone or something telling you what's going on. So in my videos, when I pull back my telemetry and I put up the overlays on the videos, I can see what my speed was, but you know, the bike isn't going to tell you that. But man, 49 miles an hour out of a little 50cc scooter. It's awesome. I've always liked the Ruckus, Honda Ruckus, but it's a 50cc carbureted, only a 2-valve engine, and it doesn't have near the power or the performance that the little Yamaha C3 has. The C3s are always more efficient, and they're definitely faster. Acceleration is, you know, kind of almost a dead even game, but as far as top speed and overall, the little C3 is just an amazing little machine. I think in the UK it's known as the Giggle. In Japan and some of the other Asian markets it's known as the Vox. But I don't know when Yamaha officially stopped making it, stopped producing it for those markets. Here, I think in the US we only had it for about maybe 4 years, 3 or 4 years. It wasn't very long. It was 2007 to I want to say 2010 or 2011, something like that. So they're very rare here. They didn't sell very well just because they're funny looking, they're quirky. I love them. I think they're so ugly they're cute, you know. But they're very, very popular in other markets. And I had an option to buy a couple of them that I found on Craigslist. There was one guy, it's been a couple years ago now, there was one guy that had 2 of them. And I want to say it was a 2007 and 2008. One was red, the other was blue. And they didn't have very many miles on them, maybe, you know, 1,500 miles on each or something like that, and he was just selling them cheap. He's trying to get rid of them. One of them wasn't running, something was goofy with it. The other one ran fine, but for the pair of them he was only asking like 2,200 bucks, and I was so close to pulling the trigger on that. I thought, man, that'd be great. I don't really need 2 more C3s, but you know, and I kicked myself over and over again on that. It would have been great to have those, because I was going back through the pictures of when I stripped down my C3 in my theater room a few years ago, and I was, you know, upgrading it and doing some stuff for my son so he could play around with it. And it looks so cool stripped down, just naked, like a Ruckus. And I was thinking, man, that would be awesome to put some low-rise bars on it and make up some foot peg brackets for the forward portion, and then just put a seat right on top of the frame rails and leave it naked, you know, a little exoskeleton C3. That would just be so cool looking, because it would be a low rider, like really low. It'd be awesome. I don't know if I'd want to do that to mine, because I've got those nice new plastics on it that are all, you know, still pretty much scratch free. They look good, so I don't know. We'll see what I end up doing with it. That'd be so cool though. Little naked lowrider C3. Big bikes are fun, but I tell you, I don't know, I enjoy the little bikes more these days. I like the smaller bikes. They're more fun to tinker around on, and it's just so much more entertaining to ride a slow bike fast than it is a fast bike slow. And it's a whole lot safer for you to ride slow overall. Insurance, traffic, everything else. So many people are hung up on the bigger, faster equals better equation, and I just don't get it. I mean, when I was younger I did, because everybody wants to go faster, get there. It's that test of will, you know, you're faster than somebody else, you're proving it, you're out there competing. Whatever, what are you gonna win besides an early grave or broken bones or higher insurance? You know, who cares? Just toodle along, have fun, enjoy yourself, try not to be a complete douchebag and piss everybody off around you. Kind of my philosophy in life. And on small bikes, you can generally do that. Of course, in big cities like this, people get pissed off because you're not going fast enough. You're not going 20 miles an hour over the speed limit like they are, so you're in the way. But, just keep an eye on your mirrors and avoid them. Let them go by. Let them hurry up and wait somewhere else. Go, Navi, go! Going in a little bit of a headwind here. Oh, having trouble breaking 50. I wonder how much sliders are going to change that. They'll definitely give it better acceleration up to, you know, probably 40-ish, 45, but you're going to run into a horsepower torque problem eventually, because the engine's still only making the same amount of horsepower. You have to figure out what wind resistance is costing you. Yeah, fuel level's coming down, so the sender's still working. It must be, I must have filled it up on the way to the office somewhere, or the warehouse. I don't recall. It's been a couple of weeks. I don't think I've tallied my fuel economy the last couple of fills. I take the pictures, you know, and record all the stats, but I haven't calculated it or thrown it into Fuely. Maybe I'll do that later today. I need to update 2 or 3 of the bikes. I'm hoping that the fuel economy on this gets better as the carburetor is tuned a little bit. You know, I was assuming that it was going to get better as the engine broke in, but you know, all things being equal, you're gonna polish up a few of the reciprocating parts in there, and it might get a little bit more efficient. But as long as you're still working with the same air-fuel mixture, you're not really changing much unless you get in there and tune things a little bit. Are you gonna go? You're 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 gonna go? Nope, I'm going. Okay, fine. I'll go around you. So when I get that wideband O2, I'll probably have to drill this factory exhaust to install the O2 bung. I'd rather not go to all that effort if I'm just gonna be getting rid of this exhaust anyway, but I need some way to capture the fuel readings, you know, the O2 readings and stuff like that, as close to the exhaust outlet as possible. They do have the wands that you can toss into the tail of the exhaust, but you never want to do that with an exhaust that has a catalyst, because that's going to alter your O2 and your overall readings. You've got to do different calibrations for that to work properly. So normally most of these O2 or lambda sensors, you know, wideband O2, they come pre-calibrated, and the good ones will also have a free air calibration method. But again, that all the results you get out of them are going to assume that you're as close to the exhaust outlet as possible. So yeah, anyway, long story short, I'll probably have to buy 2 bungs. I'll get one to drill and weld into this pipe, and then I'll get a second one for whatever other exhaust I'm going to be putting on here. But I'm really eager to see what the AF ratios are on this thing. Just sitting here at idle, I can smell the bike. It smells extremely rich. So I'm betting it's sitting here at idle at probably, you know, 10.5, maybe 11 to 1, something like that, which is pretty thick. Most modern fuel-injected engines have their idle somewhere around 13 to 1, 13.5 to 1, something like that. And then depending on the fuel map and load map, they could run as rich as probably, I don't know, 11.5 to 1 or something like that under high throttle, high load conditions for better power. But overall, they're going to try to keep that ratio in the high 13s, low 14 range for a lean burn. So thinning this one out, as long as the performance stays the same and it doesn't hitch or surge or anything like that, should go a long way toward improving the fuel economy. If this bike is running rich, as is, which I'm sure it is, at least at idle, I'm not sure about wide open throttle, opening up the intake and exhaust will allow more air in there, and that will effectively thin out the mixture. So the carburetor may not need to be tuned if I open up the intake and exhaust. That's why I've been holding off on it. I'd like to do this scientifically and present the results. I could, of course, just start tinkering with it and find a happy medium for where it sits right now. But if I plan on changing the intake and exhaust, which I definitely plan on changing this exhaust, I hate this thing, it's too big, then that's going to alter your air-fuel ratio. So anyway, just brainstorming. It's so much easier to just do these things and get on with it, but when you're trying to do it scientifically and gather metrics and statistics and all that, and of course share the process with everybody through video. There's a lot more involved. And if you do it without those metrics and without some kind of scientific testing, then everyone and their dog wants to throw in their 2 cents. Oh no, you're doing it wrong. You didn't do this right. Well, you didn't think about this. Oh, you didn't take this into account. Blah, 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 blah. Get out of your armchair and do it for yourself. So easy to quarterback these things from an armchair instead of actually doing it yourself. Get out there, buy it for yourself, try it for yourself, quit complaining about the way somebody else is doing it that is putting in the effort. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't make money on this. I mean, I make very little money doing these videos. It's mostly just for the community and, you know, giving back and trying to have some fun along the way, find other people that are interested in doing the same stuff. You know, small channels like mine, you don't make money doing this, not substantive money. I'll put dozens of hours into a project and editing it and throwing the video out there and produce it, and I'll come back a month or two later and look at it and I've made 12 bucks. Come on, man. That doesn't even buy lunch these days. So whenever you guys watch these videos, if you find anything useful, please remember to hit the thumbs up button. I'm guilty of that. I watch a video and I like it and I forget to hit the thumbs up, even though I did like the video. And it makes a world of difference for the content creator to know that the content is interesting and it's engaging to people, beyond just the view metrics. The thumbs up and the comments really help, because that drives the YouTube algorithm to see that people are interacting with it. It's a positive experience. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'm gonna go in and I'm looking at my curb here. Look at all this water flowing. My normal sign-off didn't happen. We got 2 of them. This house has a break somewhere. Who is it? Who is it? This right here. It's at this meter and it's really flowing because it's going all the way down the street, and it's been going for a month and a half or so. I'll wait for this car to go by and I'll flip around. Mine is broken in the yard, but it's on the city side. It's the supply, not going toward the house. Otherwise I would be on the hook for repairing this stuff. But look at all this water. It's just running for weeks and weeks and weeks. Mine is coming off the curb, and this spot right here, you can see the dead spot where it's the chlorinated water or whatever. It's just overloading the grass and killing it, and it's causing other problems in my yard here. You can see that's been bad for weeks and weeks, probably going on almost 2 months now, and if I step right there I'll sink to my knee. It's just a swamp. So anyway, we've called the city multiple times and they're finally scheduled to come out here in about 2 weeks, October 2nd or 3rd, or I don't know what it is, and they're gonna trench up the yard and fix whatever the line is there. They were already working down at the end of the street on a fire hydrant the other day, and I think we're gonna have a lot of this here in the neighborhood because the dry season, the dry weather, just, you know, caused a lot of ground settling and all that. Anyway, got my own little miniature river and swamp going on here. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll catch you later.